Don't you love it when things are both easier and more affordable? Like when the rain washes your car for you. Or like when you save up to 10% by bundling your renters and auto insurance with USAA. Bundle with USAA and start saving. Get a quote today.
Our friends over at ecobarista.com.au. Man, these guys not only making some of the best coffee bags, cups and that, but it's all eco-friendly stuff. They got recyclable, they got compostable. We make our bags with them. Beautiful bags. We got these made with them 3 years ago, completely custom made. Liam's doing some hand gestures at me. I don't know
Just
what that is.
hold that bag a bit closer to you.
Oh, there you go.
Right, there we go. Now we can see it. Look at that.
Okay,
Look at that bag.
Yeah.
It's amazing. Kirk is getting some bags, cups made right now. He's showing me some designs. They're looking good.
Yep.
Get them made so we can have them on the pod.
Yeah,
I want to show them
look,
off.
I'm working on it. But, all good things take time.
Yep.
And Uncle Russ is cooking. We know Uncle Russ is cooking.
Russ is cooking.
It's true. So I'm getting, but it's, it's summer right now, right?
Yep.
So I've got my iced latte cups that look real good. And I've said it on the podcast before, it's got to be big. You got to be able to shake it. You got to have the Oshizaki ice.
Got to have the little ice shakes.
Those eco barista cups, everyone in Melbourne should be using them.
Yeah, absolutely. And if you want to use them or you want to get them for your cafe or roastery, then you just go to ecobarista.com.au and you get 15% off your first purchase.
How good is that? 15% off your first purchase.
Bargain. Russ, how are you doing it?
Yeah,
You're giving it away.
What's the question you usually ask me?
Oh, I just normally, it's more of a personal question, but I just wanted to know, are you an eco warrior?
No, I'm not. I'm an eco barista.
Oh, it's still here. 2025.
That's going to be the best ad read yet. Well, welcome back to the It's Just Coffee podcast, everyone. I'm Kirk Pearson, the host, and I'm joined today by a very special guest, Fahad ALTHUBYANI.
Yeah.
I got it right on the second go.
Yeah, it's a little bit hard, but it's okay. Yeah.
We got this. But so Fahad works for the Saudi coffee company.
Yeah.
And basically how this interview came about is that I've been hoping that I can get someone from your company to come on the podcast while we're here in Dubai so that we can enlighten our listeners on some of the work that you do. But I literally came to your stand and just, said, Fahad, please, can you come on the podcast? Thank you so much for coming on
my pleasure.
Short notice.
Yeah.
I guess we'll start by me asking, what is the work that the Saudi coffee company does? So, of course, but judging by the name, you're based in Saudi Arabia. What is the work that you do?
Okay, so let's start it from the basics. Saudi Coffee Company belongs to the Public Investment Fund, which is like a government company. Mm-hmm. So basically, the mandate of this company is to reclaim Arabica back. As I told you before, this is the home region of Arabica, which is south of the Arabian Peninsula, and it has been like the source of the coffee and the start of the coffee Arabica from there. Coffee Arabica started from this place. So the main goal of it is like to start pushing farmers back to growing coffees. The company started 2021. And until now, we succeeded on planting more than 600,000 trees.
600,000 trees?
Yes, new trees.
New trees.
Yeah, so we are trying to, as I told you, supporting the farmers, doing that. And as you know, it's a company at the end. So there is another branches from that company that do other coffee stuff. But the main thing is like pushing back farmers to be growing coffees again. Yeah.
And it sounds like you come at it from a position of like national altruism, let's just say. So, you explained to me that you had your own business, but you really wanted to commit to this project.
Yeah, so let me give you a brief about myself. I'm Fahad ALTHUBYANI. I have been working in the coffee industry since 2017, I think. 2017, something like that. I'm a Q Arabica grader, certified SCA trainer. So I was working in various projects. I had my own business and some like, let's say, some roasteries, some coffee shops. But then I left everything just to join the company. As I told you, it's more of a national cause than it's about just a job. Because, seeing that you are taking the history back to its origin, it's something that you feel like a national duty, I think. Sometimes I mispronounce things, but I think I feel that this is my country. I have to give something, and especially in something that I have experience on.
I had a take on this podcast a few months ago where I said Saudi Arabia will be growing some of the world's best coffee in the next 10 years. And obviously a big part of that, you've got the terroir, so the altitude, the climate that you need. But obviously you've got the investment required in fermentation and things like that.
Obviously. So if we discuss about that, it's not, I'll take it back from 10 years to, I believe it will be maximum at 2028, let's say. Because this year we had a coffee competition sanctioned by the Cup of Excellence. It's not the official competition, but it was sanctioned by them. And imagine that more than, I think, around 30 to 35 farmers achieved 85 plus.
That's no small feat.
And imagine that number, that the last year the total competitors were around 30 farmers. So we have like a huge leap, and as I told you, we have the fund to support that. So there is the good thing that it's not just from the company. Now other businessmen, other people seeing the improvement that we did in our farm, so they started to do the same. So it's part of something big, as you know. So
do you think you'll be able to kind of inspire the next generation of Saudi coffee producers? Like there's now more incentive for people to want to grow?
Yeah. So most, as we discussing before, that most of the farming region, it's in higher altitudes. So it was a little bit hard to arrive to those areas. So most of the people that left those areas to go back to the cities for better jobs, better lifestyle. But when we started doing that, we see a lot of people that going back to their villages, to their farms, to improve the.
And this is something that I think is required globally, to be honest, because I think there's a big movement of producers in South America, for example. I think a lot of the younger generation, they don't want to pick coffee off trees. And, the next generation, they want to go work in the city and get other easier jobs. Not in all cases, but in some cases. And it kind of threatens, it threatens the sustainability of the industry. So, I think it's wonderful, and it's kind of, investment's great, and that's one thing. To throw money at things is one thing, but to actually inspire hope is probably the more important thing.
So I have a take on this, how to say it, that my personal opinion that the most important person in the supply chain is the farmer. Not only in the coffee, in every industry. And imagine that if this farmer leave his duty, what we were left with? Nothing.
Well, I mean, I said, it threatens the viability of the whole industry.
So basically, supporting the farmer as much as we can, give us like higher qualities, better prices. What every aspect of the industry will be affected from a happier farmer.
Well, it's interesting because we actually was introduced to you by a mutual friend of ours, Abdullah, who works for Sulalat Coffee. And he actually served me some of the anaerobic natural Saudi grown coffee today.
What do you think about it?
It was excellent. I mean, it kind of reminded me of a washed Ethiopian and a natural Colombian at the same time. It was floral, juicy. Like, it was very impressive. Like, you could have told me it was a natural Ethiopian or a Colombian. I would have been.
This is convinced. One of the things that we enjoy, we worked on. But imagine that, 3 years ago, if you tasted the Saudi Arabian grown coffee, it will taste just like a classic Brazil. So that's a huge leap.
So you've invested in fermentation.
In fermentation and even in agriculture itself. So we started, one of the parts of the company that we have a huge R&D department that they try to do a lot of varieties with the small lots that they try. We succeeded in planting a geisha, pink bourbon, yellow bourbons. all types of
growing these in Saudi.
No, we started like a small lot because for the coffee varieties, it's something that you cannot predict what is the character profile of this coffee in this terroir. So they took from everywhere in the world some, let's say, some baby plants, and they grow it in a specific, I'm not expert in agriculture, but they grow it in a specific method that they have it in our terroir. So we don't know what will be our next, our next geisha will be in Saudi. So we are trying like 100 trees of each variety.
So you got like a nursery developing multiple,
Yeah, so after like 3 years, we will see what is the best variety that it will succeed in our area. Because as I told you before, we don't have the huge growing land, so we have to work more on the quality, not the quantity.
You told me of 3 regions that coffee is primarily grown in Saudi Arabia. What are those 3 regions?
So it's one region, Jazan region, that have a Dair, and there is Asir. It's a Asir mountain area. There is a Jazan, a Dair, and there is Najran area as well. So.
Okay, and we're talking a lot about farming, and that's awesome to hear. Yeah. And I think that's a great thing for the coffee industry at large, because any discoveries you make, the trickle down effect may be influencing African countries or South American.
Yeah.
So
that's one of the things.
And I hope that that's passed on as well. Yeah. I want to ask you about the cafe culture in Saudi now, because one thing I just had Cole Tarode and David Crosby from the By the Drip podcast in here, and we interviewed them. And we were all kind of struck by the culture here, where it's almost like we kind of wish we could take some of those elements back to our home countries.
Okay. So basically, it's the cafe concept. It's because it's a part of our culture. Okay. As you know, we are growing like an amount of, let's say, amount of people, and the globalization that the houses becoming smaller and smaller, and the families are being more busy and that stuff. Our style was to house the guests to our houses. So usually we meet in a daily, weekly, sometimes even bi-weekly manners, like with the cousins, family, friends, all that. It switched from the houses to the coffee shops. So in Saudi, you can, as example, if you visited Riyadh, you will be amazed at 1 a.m. in the middle of the week, you will find full coffee shops, full house.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it's like the people are drinking coffee.
Yeah, but this is what fascinates me about it, because obviously you stay open so much later.
Yeah.
The cultural significance of it is enormous. Like Melbourne, have you been to Melbourne?
Yeah, I have been to Melbourne.
And it's obviously we're recognised around the world for having a wonderful coffee culture. Yeah. But I kind of, as I'm travelling, I'm kind of realising there's elements that I kind of hope we take back to Melbourne with me. And I've got a shop of my own, and I'm hoping that one day I can have that influence. And I think the willingness to pay for coffee here is so great, because basically in a marketplace in 5 years from now, more countries, more people more roasters will be competing for lots of coffee, because coffee is becoming more popular globally. So industries like ours are actually under threat unless we kind of have some cultural change. Because we won't be able to compete with the likes of Saudi and UAE and other countries that embrace the higher prices, higher end coffee.
So it's more of like, let's say it's something that related to the region itself. So I think you need to change a little bit the culture in your region, to be more towards like normalizing sitting in cafes for longer times.
Yeah.
I don't believe, when I was in Melbourne for 2 weeks, I don't remember that I have seen a single coffee shop that opens past 6 p.m. I'm not sure.
No, you're correct. There's very few.
Yeah, so this is the idea. Is like, if it started, then it will be becoming like, by the time, most of the people that owns businesses are businessmen. So if he see the value of of a new trend, he will jump on.
But I think as well, it's probably there's a large amount of Saudi, UAE, people from the Middle East that study in Melbourne and live and work in Melbourne.
Yeah.
And it's the same in Asian culture as well. I think a lot of Asian coffee shops are open significantly later. It's probably a very much Australian thing. But I think, if I can encourage anyone who's listening to this podcast who has a shop, like if we can consider that would be awesome.
So it's part of the trying something new, or take the lead with something that try to extend the working hours, try to new concept. Like in Saudi right now, there is a new trend that they call it working spaces that are becoming coffee shops. So you will see a specialty coffee shops are like 6 or 7 working stations with available Wi-Fi, high-speed internet, and there is a printer, and there is like a quiet room that they call it the phone or the online meeting room. So you have a full office, and the cost is what? Just a cup of coffee.
Yeah.
You don't need to pay anything.
Yeah, well, I think building in that service would probably be an excellent thing, and I think we could probably learn a lot of. And one thing I hope as well is that one thing that the UAE benefits from and Saudi benefits from is that your people and your leaders invest in the industry.
Yes.
So big investment. You just what's the amount of investment going into?
I think the total budget of the investment for our company is 1.4 billion Saudi riyals.
1.4 billion. That's enormous. And it's not realistic that Melbourne or Victoria gets that. Yeah. But but some investment and in the culture itself, it doesn't necessarily have to be that amount of money, but doing other things that inspire is what we really need.
Yeah. So one of the things that support every industry is the competitions and the friendly gestures. That all those things that gonna support more. And as I mixing some industries with each other, usually the chocolate goes well with the coffee, and the pastries go as well, or bakery going well with the coffee. So if we are merging that, it will be like a new trend.
Yeah, well, one thing that we were just talking about before is that I think you may have seen this, may not, but there's a perception of baristas in Western culture that they're tattooed, they're hipster, late to work sort of thing. Yeah. But that's an unfair assessment because there's a lot of really good, hardworking professionals in our industry.
Yes, indeed.
But for some reason, that's the public perception.
Yeah, that's one of the issues, that it's kind of the income part of the baristas is kind of low.
Yeah, 100%.
Everywhere in the world. So, and I get that idea, but it's honestly, I don't think of an idea that can support this part, but we have to support it in a way.
But I think it needs a cultural step to occur, and that's one that transcends nations, religion, all these other things. And for me, that is, we're entering a stage of life where technology, artificial intelligence will radically influence our lives and what we do and how we work. And to be honest, I've had discussions on this podcast where I think it'll probably facilitate the barista role evolving into something so much more than it is now. So like a sommelier. And that is where we need to start paying those people what they're worth for the skill that they have. Yeah. And when this industry will become what it needs to be when we can reach that step, when we can remunerate people for their amount of talent that they have.
One of the things that I think about is the barista is not just a coffee maker. If we look at the barista as a coffee maker, I think you can justify the salary that they get. But I'll tell you a small story about something that happened to me in 2016. I remember I was just a casual commercial coffee guy, commercial coffee, whatever nearby. Just take one black coffee and that's it. And then I went by, I remember that I went by that was the first specialty coffee shop in Jeddah, my hometown. So it was something strange. Honestly, I was meeting a guy nearby this location. So I went to the place. I seen all those fancy things, the Chemex and the V60s. And, all that was something strange. So when I entered the place, he just welcomed me. He introduced himself. There was a projector showing some farmers, and he was telling me the story that you are paying more to support the farmer, and this coffee is a hand-baked, and all that story about the specialty coffee. So the first time I paid and I took the cup, it was like, I think 2.5, double the price of the regular cup of coffee. So, and when I take the first sip, I didn't like the coffee. It was too acidic for me, you know, when you are used to the dark roasted coffee. So it was too acidic. So I didn't drink the cup, but I enjoyed the vibes.
Yeah.
So I started coming to this shop for like 4, 5, 6 times just for the vibes. I take my coffee from outside, I drink it, and then I come buy a cup and just sit in the place. And I usually started like, and this after that I started to be learning more about the coffee, enjoying more, and then I switched industry to coffee.
Yeah, well, it's one of those industries where you need one experience, and it just captivates you.
One good experience.
See, I studied journalism at school, and I thought for a long time that I wanted to be a journalist, but then I got into coffee and fell in love with it, and now just I'm completely, totally enamored.
100% in coffee.
Yeah, it's one of the, and it's I feel so lucky, and I was just explaining to the other guys that it's like, every night when I go to bed, my head hits the pillow. I'm excited to go to work the next day.
This is the good thing about it. It's not just about it's not just a regular job. We are enjoying this. Like, for me, I have been like, for December and January, I just slept like not more than 9 days in my home, in my bed.
So traveling a lot.
Traveling a lot. But when I look back at this, I'm doing something good. It's reflecting my country. It's reflecting the industry. You feel like you're keeping and leaving a legacy. So that's something that gets me by every day that I do.
I think the guys and I were talking. One day we would love to come to Saudi Arabia and see the shops and see the farming regions. To be honest, because I've seen that you're actually doing the way that you irrigate some of the crops that aren't coffee. It's like these great big circle things. So you're investing, obviously, as a country in more than just coffee.
So we are, the country itself, it's investing in a lot of things, but mainly the agriculture part is one of the things that, it's like more of something like, I think, sustainability to be something that's available from its...
What's the biggest challenge that you think you'll face in the next 5 years with the collective goals of the Saudi Coffee Company? It can't all be easy. Like, it's like the cultural thing, it's the motivation. Like, what's the biggest challenge you'll face?
I think it's global, weather issues. It's the most because we don't have much of rain in those areas, so sometimes we have to deliver trucks to very high mountains.
The cloud seeding, or are you talking about the cloud seeding of?
No. It's like just huge trucks of water. So it's very very hard to deliver water there. So imagine if you are driving a strong 4x4, sometimes there is a huge risk that you will fall out of the mountain.
You got to be careful there. Like I said, we'd absolutely love to come. I think we'll try and make plans for that next year.
We can organize that.
I'm actually planning, we were discussing before, of buying some of the green coffee for my business back home, so we can share some of this, because I think it's inspiring for the rest of the world. And one example I gave you before was Daterra coffee in Brazil. They probably aren't blessed with the hills of Panama and Colombia, but they've made huge strides in fermentation that I would very much encourage you and your colleagues to go and visit. Because they've partnered with some universities, they've done all sorts of fermentations. They're really good. I think you should connect with them.
Hopefully one day we will do.
But look, I've got one more question for you, and that is, what would you like the people of that listen to this podcast to know about what you're doing and what your goals are?
Hopefully just one of my goals that all the people that know that there is Saudi grown coffee. We are starting. and we are pushing very hard to do our best to promote the coffee. Try it, look for it, you will find it online. There is a lot of roasteries, Saudi roasteries that can ship worldwide. Mm-hmm. Try the coffee, support the industry, and as usual, like support every industry. Try more like the what they call it, the fair trade coffees that gives good amount to the farmers, even if you have to pay extra. Sometimes the extra doesn't affect you as a person, but it will affect the farmer a lot.
And I think that's the you look at the current commodity price of coffee, and I think that's probably something that's going to change forever from now. Hopefully for the better.
Hopefully for the benefit of the farmer.
Look, we haven't got time for much more, but thank you so much. I'm going to try and time my visit for when there's one of the big boxing matches on in Saudi Arabia. I'm a big time boxing fan, so my goal is to one day make coffee at like a Canelo fight or something one day.
So you will be welcome at any time.
All right, let's do it. Let's make it happen.
Let's do it.
All right. Well, thanks so much again.
It's my pleasure.
Thanks. Really appreciate you coming on short notice.
Thank you.
All right. So that is the It's Just Coffee podcast with Fahad ALTHUBYANI.
Yeah.
All right. I got that. All right. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Let's do it.